Hi, welcome to She Connects, and we're here with Despina today from
Finance Your Destiny.
Thank you for coming and driving all the way to be with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to this.
So news to me, you're a finance broker now.
Yeah, so I started my journey as a finance broker back in August last year. After many years in the corporate world, I thought it was time to take the plunge and go self-employed, and that's what a lot of craziness to my world, but it's fantastic. I wouldn't change it one bit.
Yes. So I would have a very similar background and story to you, which brings me today. I'm very excited to be interviewing another version of me, but also a sisterhood that we've sort of created amongst transitioning from employed to self-employed, where we know nobody, we are a nobody, but we're here to create something better.
Absolutely. And the best thing is that we have each other, we can support each other, and we're going through this journey together. So I love it.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for being part of my journey just as much as your own journey. I guess a couple of questions I want to talk to you about and let the viewers and the younger generation know, like, what inspired us, like, what was the thought of transition between bank and a broker? Were you scared? Were you not scared?
Yeah, definitely, Anita, I was very scared. It's one of those things where, it was always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to start a business. What did I want to do? No idea.
Yeah.
Naturally, I just stumbled into finance. So yes, I did study finance at uni, and then randomly got my first job in the call center at CBA. So you start from there. After that, did various roles in the home lending space, worked for some of the majors, worked for smaller finance companies, and again, always in the back of my mind, I want to start a business. And then you just think, okay, well, what do I do? So I'm in finance. I thought, all right, naturally I'll just try mortgage broking. So took the plunge, but it took a very long time to make that decision. So I think you actually inspired me.
Me?
Yes.
Me, out of all people.
Absolutely, you did, because
you sure wasn't Michelle Obama?
No, it was definitely you. I remember we used to work together. So you took the plunge first, made the decision to become a broker, and I was thinking, wow, like, if Anita can do it, sure.
So can Despina.
Maybe I can do it too. So I followed you 6 months later, and now almost 12 months later, having almost finished my first year as a broker.
As a business owner, as a broker,
Yeah.
as a woman in finance.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's a game changer. It just, I would not change it for a second. Yeah.
Wow.
So very pleased, very proud, and it's great.
With my story, it was actually quite scary, but I think there's something in the clock or something within your intuition that it was time to give up your old life and explore the new life. You agree?
Absolutely. I feel like, for me anyway, it was just, a little nagging thought.
Nagging?
In the back of my mind. Like, do it. If you're not going to do it now, you're not going to do it. So, and that's where Finance Your Destiny was born.
How did we come to the name of Finance Your Destiny? Because I know it's a little bit spiritual as well, which we're all for here.
Mm-hmm.
It is a safe space to share, like, how did the branding come about?
Look, I'll be totally honest with you.
You can.
The name was very hard to come up with. And I don't know, like, finance, destiny. I love the word destiny. It kind of goes with my name, Despina. So
I think
literally,
it does too.
There really wasn't that much of a meaning behind it, but
that was your spark moment. This is the name I want, and this is what we're gonna do, and roll with it.
Exactly.
Good on you.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't too much of a thought process, but it kind of stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
I think our friendship, when we worked together, we knew we were like clicking.
Mhm.
And this is where the vibe, the gut feel, and feeling that this person is for you, or this person you want to keep as a friend in your life.
Mhm.
Did you get that spark feeling between us?
Absolutely. I know I laugh when I say that, but yes, you're honestly, our friendship, I value it so much. Like professionally, personally, the amount of support that you've given me is incredible, and I'm so lucky to have met you. And I'm so happy that we can go through this journey together.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
But apart from complimenting me, which, you know, I'm absorbing it all in right now, we definitely hit it off the positive way, and
Yeah.
which is why we're so passionate about, I guess, you know, messages like the 5 people you hang around is what you'll become, and you know, your influence is just as much as my influence.
Mhm.
And we all would be somewhat, I guess, self-aware of who we're surrounding ourselves with. And it brings me to a passionate workshop that we've been working on as well, which is all about money and interpersonal relationships.
Mhm.
Despina, is this one of those passionate topics that you'd like to share with the world, or you want to bring that discipline in to make talking about money a more normal thing rather than a sensitive topic which people may or may not walk away from?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that finance, money, in general, it's not a topic that we learn about in schools, right?
Right.
So, you know, we go through school, we don't learn about finance, we don't learn, you know, how to save money, how to buy a house, how to have those conversations with other people. So, and that would be one of the reasons why I have fallen in love with this profession,
Yep.
broking. It's having those difficult conversations in a very safe and nurturing environment, and especially, you know, with women specifically, I also think that we sort of shy away from having those difficult conversations.
That is 100% true. And
Yeah.
it comes with, I guess, each generation, it's changing. Women inequality, the definition of that is changing, and the roles that feminine energy and masculine energy play as well, which we'll explore a little bit of that later. But, you know, landing in a profession where we can help other women support the best decision to make in different circumstances and different stages of life. I guess this is where me and Despina come together, and we share the same value, and this is something we want to bring to the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for really like promoting that there shouldn't be a stigma around talking about these topics, money and finance, and especially in relationships as well. Like, I have met many clients of mine who, you know, to this day,
Yep.
it doesn't matter how long they've been together,
Yep.
they still find it quite difficult to have those conversations with each other about whether it's saving money, buying their home, whatever it is. So I really want to promote that finance shouldn't be a topic that is difficult to talk about,
Yes.
and just having that safe space, especially for women,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important.
I 100% support that. And we're coming to an age where, you know, women and men, I would say, they come with equal opportunity now. And the expectation of that is everyone is even Stevens. But what works in an everyday world of work, labour, or the workplace, or careers, right? They're very different from at-home duties, and this is where I find the most conflict happens, where you should be doing this is what should be done, or you should be paying for this, or you should bring equal value into the relationship. There's no such thing as equal, which I've discovered in this world. It's what works best for you and your partner.
Absolutely.
Can you give me an example or a strategy that, you know, people should embrace more of that you could recommend?
So I think I'm very much of the same opinion. It's not equal, as in the contribution is not 50-50. I think that, you know, as women, we go through different stages of life. So we have our stage of life where we're in the corporate world, or we have our jobs and we build ourselves up, and then there's a period of time where perhaps we take time off for family, and then we're back in the corporate world. So the roles will always change depending on the stage of life that you're at.
That's true.
So it's very important that, like, I think couples can just be open with each other, openly communicate, different life stages. One person may have to support the other person more.
Temporarily.
And that could be
or either it's full-time or temporarily, depending on what life throws at you, right?
Exactly. So as long as you are both on the same page and can communicate that, and there's no pushback from the other person, it's more understanding, then it shouldn't be a difficult topic.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%, because money is a resource, and just like business, it needs to be used efficiently. However, in the business world, we call everyone a shareholder or a director. But when it comes to personal finance, you are the CFO, or your partner is the CFO, and you are the CEO of the life as well. You are equals, and you both understand that life is a journey full of experiences that you want to share together. Rather than, you've got more money than me, or I've got more money than you, or I bring more home, or you should be doing this because I bring more home. These are very difficult conversations, and when we talk about hardship, I think it's very easy to fall into a position of no power, because, for example, the man could always know more or have more life experience or wants to be a directive. As a woman, it could be the total opposite, where money's not your strongest resource that you bring home, or money is not exactly a topic that you can strategically think about, and you don't want to do the knowledge or the options or the research in terms of what to do with money. And it's very hard generationally, where women are getting more and more educated today, but they can make this option, whereas we also have an era of women who love to sit back and let the man handle everything.
And that's totally fine. Again, each couple, each relationship will have their own way of working things. But I still do think it's very important that if it is the case that perhaps the man, let's say, in this example, is the one that's a little bit more in charge of that, he should be able to be transparent.
Right.
And be able to explain what it is that's happening with their finances. And as long as the other party's involved and is happy with that, then there's no problem whatsoever.
So what we're finding here today, I guess, is a lot of clients, or a lot of clients that reach out to me, there's only one partner that knows every in and out.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's very difficult for me to, I guess, let them know the terms and conditions of what they're signing themselves up for, unless they agree or have that interpersonal communication with their partner, that this is what we're signing ourselves up for, this is what we look forward to the future, this is why we're doing this today. Have you also come across that in your world?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes. So I see a lot of the times, one party, for example, as you know, servicing is much harder these days. So to get a loan in itself, with the high interest rates, buffers that the banks use, it's harder to get a loan. And so, I have clients who need their partner's income now to get the loan to work, which is fine. But then they're not necessarily on the title.
100%.
So I see that a lot, and there's ways around it. We can add the partner to the title, or you can keep it as is, but then we need to be very transparent and make sure that everybody involved understands, you are on the mortgage, you're not on the title, and what that means for that person, and how that impacts them and their future borrowing as well.
Yeah, because it's part of our duty of care as finance brokers that we let you know exactly what you're signing and what are the repercussions if something haywire goes up,
Exactly.
right? And unless that bond or that conversation is had between partners or family members who want to invest with you, it's a difficult position to be in, because we see one side is very blinded, but then the other side is very progressive, right? And I guess with women today, we kind of need to know what we're signing and who to go to for help. Is there any places or institutions that you know that could help?
Definitely speaking to brokers. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Obviously you have solicitors that can help as well when you're going through the home journey process. But it is our duty, as you mentioned before, to be able to explain to our clients what
Position
it is.
they're in.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And even if it means having the conversation individually and then together as well with the clients, most times you find that everyone's on the same page, everyone understands what it is they're signing.
And that's what we call a smooth transaction.
Exactly.
Yeah, end to end, everyone's on board, everyone has the same goal, everyone has the right purpose. And for us as brokers, we walk in and we're like, this is a easy client to understand and connect with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have had some instances in my world where my own intuition that one of the partners were blinded or the intent is not the same. For my call to action for that is I talk to the individual alone and I've asked them to have legal advice. And this is where a solicitor comes in or a lawyer comes in to have that conversation. Yes, it's a little bit of a cost, but we rely on these professionals to have the best intent for our customer. And it's very hard to see, and also very hard to swallow that, sometimes investment is a huge thing and it may sway towards one partner than another. And the worst thing we want to see is a dramatic event in the family or some personal matter that it might fall back on you in a way where this investment, or for example this loan, isn't appropriate for what the matter is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. So I completely agree with you that is when legal advice does come in. And I actually did have a similar situation recently.
As well, right?
I did.
It's getting more and more common.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's more to do with adding spouses to the title or not.
That's right.
And this matter that I had, it was, we needed the spouse's income, but we weren't restructuring the title. So
actual title.
that's, yeah, and for their reasons, that was fine to keep it that way. But straight away I referred them to solicitor to get that legal advice, to make sure that they understood what it is that they were signing up for.
And I think very similar to my network, we're like a safe space, and we only work with trusted professionals that we understand are working for the same intentions. Right? It's not just about money, it's about understanding the client, understanding their position, and helping them make the right choices.
Absolutely. We as part of being in this industry, we have our networks of people that we trust, and I know you and I only work with people that we trust and we're happy to refer to our clients. Yeah. So I guess for the viewers that are listening to us right now, how is it working with bankers now that you're on the other side? It's great. It's great because I think we have that experience. So we know what the bankers do. We know how it works on the other side.
Correct me if I'm wrong, your experience is roughly very similar to mine, about 8-9 years in the industry of banking, right?
Yes.
So you've seen pushbacks, you've seen internal politics, you've seen the influx of emails that could come through 1 or 2 days later. Absolutely.
We know how the credit policies work, we know how to get those exceptions, we know how to get those discounts as well. So
that's very important.
Which is important. But I think being on the other side now as a broker, having had that experience as a banker before, is
vital.
absolutely
Vital. You wouldn't jump into your own company or the position of a broker unless you understood lending
yes,
inside and out.
exactly.
Yes, you can refer a deal. Yes, you can, refer it to a bank. But the difference between a broker and a banker is we are the real deal. However, we're not working inside the bank, we're working privately. We're working with the banks, you'd say.
Yes, absolutely. We're working with the banks and we're working for our client. So one of the things that really, I guess, was another reason why I went self-employed was I hated being restricted by one bank's policy.
That's true.
That killed me because I wanted to help as many people as possible, and then being restricted by one bank's credit policy, one bank's rules, I didn't like that. I don't like being restricted.
So
Full stop.
So you like every woman or millennial here today, like options. Am I hearing
I
that
love
right?
options.
You love options.
Yes. So the good thing with working with us is we have all these options. We are able to work with a variety of different lenders.
Because remember, we have about 66 lenders on our panel right now, and they range from big banks, which is your set standard, and then it goes from the higher risk banks, which is what we call the second tier banks, third and fourth private tiers. And again, each of the tiers represents their risk appetite.
Yes.
For the viewers here today, what is risk appetite, Despina? Come on.
I guess every lender has a different risk appetite. So you've got, your typical customer profile, so PAYG, or you've got your self-employed, or you've got client that perhaps credit background isn't as crash hot. So depending on your client's situation is where you're going to fit
in the bank.
So
in the lenders.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say type A client with perfect credit score, pay slips, just very straightforward scenario is going to go to probably a major. Whereas if you've got a newly self-employed individual, maybe 12 months in, 18 months in, sort of under that 2-year mark, you'd be looking at perhaps a little bit more of a specialised type lender.
So they're what we call second tier.
Exactly.
So I guess in layman's term, like a normal Joe Blow will go work in a fruit shop, and then he'll have a normal salary of 80K, have no credit history. They're your main clients, right? Anything to do with credit defaults or arrears or anything that the big banks deem as risky, right? Then we'll put the client to a lender that's second tier or maybe even third tier, depending on how severe the profile is. A lot of the times for me, clients just expect big banks.
Yes. So one of the parts of my job is to educate the clients that it's not just the majors. Certainly, if I have some clients that will only deal with majors, and that's fine. But then, once you educate the clients on why you may recommend perhaps a second or third tier lender for depending on their situation, they understand. And I find actually, to be honest, a lot of the second and the third tier lenders are
just as competitive as well.
Exactly, price wise and great to deal with.
Yeah, I think so. I've had one client, which is, so I guess I would say a very arrogant client where they only want to pay a certain rate. For example, I'm not paying anything more than a 6.4% on my investment property. I don't care what lender it is, but I'm not paying more. However, their profile had marks on it, like arrears, or they've declared themselves with financial hardship, which they shouldn't have. But they don't realise that banks don't like risk.
And look, it's the cost of doing business, right?
100%.
Is it the rate that they're chasing, or is it the investment property that they want to buy? What's more important?
Or even their own home, right? But it's very reflective of you are what you are, and this is what the banks are offering, and this is what the second tiers are offering. But having those options between the two is what our life work is all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, like, it's about educating them, because a lot of clients just, they don't understand. They only know about the majors, so
That's true.
and that's our job. That's
That's
why
true.
we're here.
That's why we're here. And I guess another reason why we're here today is, how do we support, we are women in finance, but we love to educate and we love to upskill the community of the women. It's not just about us, it's about everyone around us. It's not about, just, taking the simple business routes. It's also developing the community to work with you as well. As a small business, I think you've also felt that.
Definitely. I think, what we're doing here today, hopefully is going to go out and reach a lot of the community and get to know us, and also, we'd love to hear from you, by the way. We've also got our workshops that we're going to work on, and hopefully we have some people reach out to us as well through there. But really, for me, it's all about education. So, whether it's social media or whatever, or workshops that we host, educating the community on what we do, and helping out.
So Despina, on the weekends, on your downtime, what is it that you love?
Is it bad if I say I really enjoy training?
What, training for what though?
Nothing particular. No, I do like gym group classes, which I love.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like the odd dinner out with friends and trying new restaurants. And some downtime. I like listening to podcasts like this one.
Love. Something about trust, empowerment, and collaboration that you like, right?
Yes, absolutely. And also, just books, audio books. Yeah, I love it.
That's good.
Yeah,
so,
that's my unwinding time.
Your winding time. I think for myself, I love to be social. I used to be very introverted. No, actually, the word is extroverted. I used to be able to jump from group to group, different social settings, no issues. But the older I get, the more me time I need.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I feel like I'm the same.
Yes.
I feel as though, you are an introvert, but you're also an extrovert. But you're introvert when you need to keep some peace and just have some alone time.
Yeah.
But then you also have to be with the right people to be extrovert, I think.
100%.
Can't just be extrovert with anyone.
That's true. You can't get rid of that shell.
No.
Well, I do love a nice bottle of whiskey or a nice bottle of Shiraz, for example, to wind down.
Whiskey girl.
No, it's a hidden talent. I've been training with my dad and uncles.
Really?
As soon as I could. Couldn't let them have all the luxuries in life without me having some fun. But I guess growing up is a big part of who we are today. And can you tell me a little bit of something about your past?
Yeah, so I think so. Well, I grew up in Newcastle actually.
Really?
Yeah, so I grew up in Newcastle until the age of 18. So it's me, my brother. So I've got one brother. He's 3 years younger than me, and he's very smart. I hate to admit it, he's smarter than me.
Wow. I would never say that about my siblings. But anyways.
He owes me for that. Yeah, but so it's me, my brother, and my mum. So, small, very close family. And I think, growing up with, just my brother and my mum, I think it sort of made me more, more nurturing, more really, really close to them. So I really value family.
So you are the big sister of the
I'm
family,
the big
right?
sister, yes.
They are usually the smarter one, just FYI.
Yeah, thanks, Anita.
The second one is normally the rougher on the edge, but still a diamond.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, we growing up super close. Moved to Sydney, so the big smoke. When I went to uni.
Yeah.
And so it's been great. been living in Sydney for, I don't know, as far as I can remember, like 12 years now, and I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
Not on the other side of Sydney. So my own story growing up, I actually grew up around Wollondilly. Yeah, so if you know, ever heard of Picton, Tarmore, Narellan, Harrington Park, Razorback, Oakdale, Bargo, Pheasant's Nest, the list goes on. So I grew up in a little humble town called Thelmy, and funny enough, we were the only Asians in that community. So we were a bit of a niche, but again, I was middle child, I was never the perfect one, a little bit rebellious at times, but it shows character.
It does. We all go through that rebellious stage, by the way.
Oh, thanks for making me feel accepted here.
But yeah, definitely right. Like, I'm sure you feel the same, but you know, the way that you grew up is the reason why you are the person that you are today.
And it's always a part of you, right? So I guess my next question is, where our upbringing is one thing, but our nurturing in our professional life is different, right? We came from a very male-dominated space in banking. How did you feel about that along your journey?
Yeah, so definitely traditionally I think that our industry is male dominated, and I think nowadays in more recent times, like, there are more females in the industry for sure, but I think that, well, I hope that that's going in the right trajectory, because I remember in my last job in the corporate world, when I was looking after brokers, you know, out of a portfolio of like several hundred brokers, I would say 90% were easily male.
Wow.
And again, look, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that women need to get into this industry more. And I do really hope that's changing. And I also think that women have a bit of like a superpower as well, where, you know, we have a bit of an intuition, we're empathetic, we understand, we can relate to people, and we're, you know, we can just, I don't know, we just have that superpower where we can really just get to know people and get the best outcomes for them. But definitely more diversity, we need more diversity in this industry.
I think so. Like, our background is very similar, as we said before, you know, exploring the world of banking and lending is scary, because I feel like it's a very pick me market.
Yes.
And my own personal story would be, I walk around the floor and it's a good, like you said, 90% male, or there is a specific character that they choose that are very similar, which is not very diverse. Not everyone has equal opportunity to get to the next promotion, or, you know, if you don't rub shoulders, you don't get the position, or, for example, you don't have a certain look or a certain demeanor, you're not going to get a special position. And I felt a little bit insecure when I was going through banking. It was not just banking, just in the professional financial industry, where, for example, I studied financial planning during uni, and the purpose of that was to be able to help mum and dad who was migrants, and I'm first generation, like, help educate the older generation who's worked so hard from overseas, come and establish themselves here in Australia. They don't know English, they don't have an educational background of what the Australian financial system is or how tax works. My little incentive for me is educate myself, then educate others. And coming out from that, you know, graduating from University of UOW with a financial planning degree and a business degree as well. You know, I went through 2 different majors to get to where I am today, to find a profession that can still add value, but also comes from the heart. And I don't know if you can feel or see where I'm coming from, that it's very self-driven. my passion is very self-driven.
Yeah.
Where if I can't help you, I'll refer to someone who can help you. But if you don't understand my language, that's okay. Someone else can, but we share the same intention. And that's how my world works. So with that interpersonal story is I see a lot of communities that, you know, work hard every day, but have no idea what to do in terms of personal finance. Is there any tips and tricks for, I guess, our viewers here today that you can share with us?
I think personal finance, it's difficult, right? I do hear people say, you know, I want to save money, I want to do this, I want to buy a home. They don't know where to start, and that's difficult. I think it's like the easiest way to do it is if you want to save money, like you do need to have clear, realistic goals, purpose. Like, what am I saving money for? Set a realistic time frame. How much do you want to save in what amount of time? And break it down into smaller steps. So if I want to save, I don't know, $10,000 by the end of the year, and break it down. But also be flexible to that. Things happen, life happens, your priorities change. So you need to be able to like review your plans and adjust accordingly and still be able to reach your goal. Or even like with buying a house, like talk to professionals, talk to people that can help you get there. Like don't feel so, you know, overwhelmed. You know, if you don't know where to start, you need to get advice from someone. And that's what we're here for.
I agree. And I guess our workshops encourage this behaviour.
Absolutely.
Where budgeting is a tool, comparison is a tool, also voicing out what your inner voice tells you to voice out. And not be so insecure about it that you're afraid to do it. Because we're here for value, we're here to share this life experience or even this journey together. That I feel like these are values out in the community that aren't talked about.
Definitely. And again, I think we touched on this before, like being female as well in this industry. I hope that it encourages other women who perhaps they feel more comfortable to speak to us, you know, about these topics, and we can help them.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And I guess interpersonal skills of how to communicate, how to share the vision, or how to ask about money, or ask for money, or ask about investing in money. These are all the conversations where we dig a little bit deeper. What is the intent? How do we go about it? How transparent it should be? Is there an ideal sort of partnership view that you can see as a young married couple, not from you, but just an advice for the audience on how to even start with a conversation like that?
Yeah, so I think those topics need to be discussed in the very early stages.
How early are we talking?
Okay, I'm not talking like date one, we go out for dinner.
Look, if I went out to dinner today and I started talking about money, that guy would be out of the door.
If I would randomly say the 6 month mark.
Right. So that's good probation for any date or any person who's seeing each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think like it depends what life stage you're at as well.
That's true. So
you'll be able to understand quite quickly if you're serious about the person that you're dating, let's say. Well, we hope so.
When I was 25, not really, but now that I'm not disclosing my age, but now when I'm in the later 30s range, we have very short intention spans.
Yeah.
For tolerance.
That's right. But I still think that these topics like finance, children, buying a house, all these topics are important.
Having a kid, who's going to look after mum and dad, your house or my house.
Exactly.
Are we going to sell anything? Can we make this work? Are we going on holidays?
All these topics need to be discussed.
Are we buying a Shih Tzu or Cavoodle? They're the most important topics, right? Cat or a dog?
Dog.
Ferrari or Maserati? The list goes on.
Lambo.
Lambo it is. Okay. No, these are all topics that need to be discussed out of all.
Yes,
all
and
things.
as scary as it is, and it is scary. Like, it's hard to bring up these conversations, but you are so much better off being upfront, stating your intentions, and being clear with what it is that you want.
Yeah.
Both sides.
100%.
Both sides. And once it's all out on the table, then you know what you're working with, right?
Or exactly like in terms and conditions or a loan approval. You know the black and white is there.
Yeah.
No surprises later. And we know how to deal with it. Like, I guess me being a newlywed, right? It's 2 or 3 months down the track now. I too are getting surprises here and there. Yeah, but like you said, the first 6 months was just getting to know, and by the 6 to 9 month mark, you have a more serious purpose to have a talk about what life would look like in the long term, because you've invested about 9 months or you're heading towards that 1 year mark. I guess the more mature you are, the quicker you'll have that conversation.
Definitely.
Because it's important to you and you value your time today, you value how healthy you are mentally and physically, and you also are trying to beat the game of time, which we only share.
That's right. That's so right. And I think that if you have those conversations, then you're setting yourself up with a strong foundation. As a partnership, as a unit, it's building your life together as a young couple or mature couple, whatever it is. I think you've got to have those foundations there.
Yeah.
And if you're on the same page, it's extremely important. I think it must.
Has there been any, I guess, after speaking about all the positives, has there been any negative light that you could share with us that could happen if these conversations didn't happen?
I think it just makes for harder decisions, harder conversations down the track. Like, if you're not on the same page about money, for example, one person saves, one person spends, one person is earning 3 times as much as the other person. Like, how do household expenses look like? Do you have a joint account? Do you have a separate account? Are you both wanting to buy a house
sooner rather than later?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So they're all important topics and decisions that I think if you don't have those discussions up front, it's just going to make your life much more difficult down the track.
Yeah, because I think culturally as well, like, I was having a conversation with an older gentleman today in the office, and he's hilarious, by the way. He's just like, the demographics are different, and what is expected at what age is entirely different. Someone from, I said, Greenwich, an average age to get married is 38, right? For someone who's in Penrith or Campbelltown, by 38, they would have a granddaughter by now. The expectation is totally different, and we need to grasp that, correct?
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
That is true. And I've also heard stories that a lot of Caucasians would like their sons and daughters to be married at 21, 22.
I forget that.
That's crazy, right? And in my culture, the Chinese culture, if you're not married by 30, you're considered...
You've got a use-by date.
Yeah, you're like expired milk.
Yeah.
A little bit sour, but still good, right? We call it yogurt now.
Of course, I think, like, people are going to mature at different ages. So, some people get married in their 20s, some people get married in their 30s, and that's all well and fine. If your foundations are there. Look, I'm not a relationship expert.
Neither am I. But hey, if you guys want relationship advice, we'll send you a relationship coach. But as females who also live the life with you, we understand, what expectations are and how to juggle it, right?
Yeah.
Navigating the right conversations, being able to relate to certain things, that's super important.
Definitely. And that we can help in many different ways. So like I have couples that the wife's on maternity leave and they want to buy a house, upgrade their house, refinance, cash out, whatever it is. Like we're able to help in that regard because we know how the finance part works. So
we know how the finance part works, but also going through this whole transition of being a working girl to now being alone and having a kid. Like I hear of stories that people struggle so much with that.
Yeah.
And for a partner that's not supportive, it's very heartbreaking to hear these stories because you'll hear that, oh, I used to work and I used to have so much friends and I used to be so positive, to now I've just had a kid and I end up in depression.
Yeah. And that's very sad. And I very much empathize with women who do go through that. It's a life-changing experience to become a mother, to go from working to becoming a mother. It doesn't change what value you bring to your life and society and whatsoever. It's just a different phase that you're entering.
That's right. Because you'll get pushed back from friends that haven't had a kid or friends who don't know what pregnancy means and the whole mindset shift. Right, a lot of people either push back or push through, right? And it's not until you have these open conversations or check-ins with your close friends or relatives, like, hey, how you going? Or like, is everything okay? Women themselves have mood swings, or they have things that go through your heads that not everyone understands.
Yeah, that's right, and that's why I think women go through a lot. And we're still
surviving.
Very resilient creatures. Do you think?
I think so. Like, this is just our opinion, obviously.
Yeah.
You can correct us if we're wrong, but like, we're very versatile we need to be a mother, we need to be a sister, we need to be ourselves.
Yes.
That is full on.
That's right.
Looking after other people, caring for other people, being a mum,
yes,
is 100% crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not always thinking about yourself, which why I guess it's very important to find people who align to you, because people understand that it's not all about you, but when you have the time to, it's time to embrace it.
That's right. Yeah. Definitely. Going off that point, so yeah, embrace it and don't feel like you need to fit into a certain box. Don't feel like sometimes I feel like women feel like we're conditioned to be a certain way and fit into a certain mold where, just put your energy in being bold and
being happy.
And being happy, being bold.
Happy.
Take that risk. When the time is right, take that risk and do something for you, whether it's work-wise, personal, whatever it is,
Yeah, because I think growing up, we're expected to be a good daughter. We're expected to look after the little brother. We're expected to find a man. We're expected to care for the man. We're expected to bear their child. We're expected to care for everyone but ourselves.
Exactly.
But when the time comes, he calls, right? It's like Superman or Superwoman, right? Duty calls, but find that balance, right?
Yeah.
And I guess having that work-life balance, as you said before, is important.
Definitely. Work-life balance is extremely important. So I'm all about work-life balance, but at the same time, you don't also want to feel guilty if you do want to prioritize your work.
Yep.
So when you're building yourself up, corporate world, your business, whatever it is, it's okay if you want to work hard and you want to put your hours and your energy into working because you're building yourself up.
That's right.
Again, of course, you have to have your downtime and do things that you enjoy and relaxes you. But don't let people make you feel guilty
For doing.
for doing you, whatever that looks like. That's for you.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Well, I think, you've added a lot of value here.
Thank you.
You create a lot of clear messages out there that, life is meant to be shared rather than an individual take. It's about being open and trusted.
Definitely. Just enjoy the journey, because we are only here for a short time.
Yeah, I think so.
So Anita, are you single?
Absolutely not. However, if I was single,
Yes.
right, like if I could take back 2 months ago and not get walked down the aisle,
Mm-hmm.
I would do life almost the same but slightly differently.
Okay. What do you mean by that exactly?
Look, like we're more mature now.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend circle is getting smaller and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't go through the differences of going through the online apps to meeting my partner, that's for sure. But what I look for is slightly different. And that comes with the differences of how I view my relationship,
Mm-hmm.
how I view masculine and feminine energy,
Yeah.
right? I know myself is very alpha.
Mm-hmm.
But I see, after experiencing a lot of people, meeting a lot of different dating candidates, you kind of pick and choose what you want.
Dating candidates.
Look, if they can be applicants, they can be candidates, right? Like, my ideal partner would have different traits to yours, right? So I'm going to start a question for you, right? What was,
Okay.
if you could recreate the world in Despina's head, what would be the ideal man for you?
The ideal man for me. So I think it's important that you can be yourself. You need to be able to be your authentic self with your partner, and for them to accept that, and for you to feel secure that you can express yourself how you want to express yourself.
That's true.
So, there's the physical aspects, there's, money, there is, all those things. But I think that the most important part is that emotional connection.
Right.
Absolutely.
And mutual trust and respect, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So I used to go for looks and only looks because I was always a bigger girl. And I needed someone who was taller, stronger than me. Back in the day, women like protection.
Yeah.
But the shift in my mind started happening when a certain character didn't fit into place.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I didn't feel heard, I didn't feel disrespected. Hang on, wait, is that right? I didn't feel respected. I didn't feel respected, that's right. And it didn't let me be who I was. And it didn't elevate me to a point where I wanted to be like, yes, this is life. And this is where it should be.
Yeah.
That is super important, right?
Absolutely. You need to be able to be yourself. Otherwise, what are you trying to fit into a mold, into a shape for somebody else to make them happy, or because you think you need to be a certain way for them to accept you? That can only go on for so long.
That's true.
And then, your true self is always going to come out, but to what cost? To the detriment of what?
That's true.
Your health, your sanity. It's not worth it.
That's true. And we're talking about emotional connection, right? So for girls relate to each other and it's very easy. But when it comes down to men, I feel like from the candidates that I've seen and heard before, they're not openly enough to express or communicate at the same level as females, which may cause a roadblock in the relationship.
Yeah, I think perhaps there's that stigma that, I'm a male, I need to be strong, I can't show emotion, I have responsibilities and I need to look after my spouse or whatever it is. I think it's important that, men these days, they can express themselves and they can show that vulnerability, because that's what's going to allow you to connect better.
I think so. Because what difference are you to a friend when you're all hiding under all this? When you're marrying your best friend, because we hear that every day, marrying your best friend and that's your partner.
Yeah.
If that shell isn't broken, how do you expect people to be at the same level as you when you think? Or at the same level as you emotionally when you're going through something? There is a roadblock right there.
Exactly. I think you need to be able to be raw and real in order to be able to connect.
And I think vulnerability is another word that we should embrace a bit more. It's okay to show that you're not always strong or this thing's bothering you. I feel like men also have a very protective shell of their ego, which needs to be nurtured a little bit for it to come out. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think yeah, you're definitely right. Yeah,
Not all the time though.
No, not all the time. No, and this isn't like, it's not a bashing men.
No, it's just our own life experience.
Yeah.
And I think candidate is a great word. We've seen, we've heard, we've met. Like I wouldn't say, I'm a woman of the streets, but I would say I'm a woman with experience who's understood men in a way where we've worked with a male-dominated industry. We have friends that go through things, and they allow us in as girlfriend rather than girlfriends.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the connection between a friend, between friends, between a male and a female friend, is remotely the same as you having a partner. If one lets down a shell, the other one lets down a shell, and it clears a way of trust and respect.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And going back to like the masculine and feminine energy, right? So I think these days it's not just masculine energy I provide. Well, what does that mean? Provide financially, yeah, okay, that's important. But also I provide comfort, I provide that open space for my partner to be able to come and talk to me. And connecting emotionally and planning together and all these different things, right? So yeah, it's not just about finance.
Yeah,
Paying for things.
I guess traditionally the role of a man is to provide, but the description of the modern day man today is in transition, because women's demands are getting more and more, and 100% that's true. We have a lot of options out there in terms of what we're going to buy, what we bring to the table, what career to choose. The list goes on. But men these days are still stuck in a very traditional mindset, which they don't really understand what the women want sometimes. And it's not unless trust and respect is in place or have a foundation to live and grow that we really understand our partners.
That's right.
Right?
100%.
I would say, the right partner for me would be someone who understands me or doesn't direct me in a way where I feel belittled. I want to voice in this relationship. I want also to contribute a good idea.
Yes. Yeah. You want to feel like it's a partnership. You're both working together for the goals that you
want together, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because we're all sharing the one currency. It's not money this time, it's time. And I guess finding the right partner or the right friends around you will enhance that experience, or it will lead you to a dark hole. Which is why our workshop, Money and Interpersonal Relationships, is a huge thing. No one talks about it. But when you fall victim to those traps, how do you identify what is safe and what is not? A clear example for me would be going down through having a group of friends who just took advantage of you because, you had money, because you worked, because going out was easy for you. But it didn't really align to what the intent of going out meant. Did it mean being used to pay for bills or rounds of drinks? Or is it always your turn? like, funny enough, I met a candidate back in the day. He was like 12 years older than me, but he really thought it was funny that we go out as colleagues for lunch and it's always your turn.
Pathetic. Pathetic.
Funny, right? Like, and to this day, this person or this candidate out in the open still lives by that sort of petty rule. And I'm just like, I'm 11 years old, younger than you. I've just recently graduated. I was 22, 23. Okay, I didn't know what was wrong, what was right. But deep down within me, I knew shouting someone around or two is okay. But when it becomes consistent, it becomes a burden to your own wallet, to your own detriment, to seeing what value of the relationship do I actually bring.
Exactly, and you feel like you need to do it. I mean, when you're younger, you're not probably confident enough in yourself.
Correct.
And that's why you feel like...
Well, I was people pleasing back in the day because you are a young grad and you are experiencing work colleagues for the first time. But people need to be aware of these things because you're getting used not on a daily basis, but here and there.
Yeah.
Like, we all want to have fun, and it's only fair for everyone to be an equal because, again, time is the ultimate currency in this life that's actually important. Whether we're wasting it on someone who adds no value to someone who's just sucking the life out of you is two different things.
That's right. So the quicker that you realise this, the better it is for you, right?
I'm going to put my hand up. I was stupid. But now our eyes are wide open. Who's using your time and for what? Or who's there for you in times of need? And who will give you the best advice rather than advice with a slight intention. You yourself have to understand gut feel is probably the best voice in your head.
And listening to your gut and listening to your intuition. I mean, there's been so many times in life where I ignored my intuition to only reflect back and think, if only I just listened to myself,
this wouldn't have happened this way. Yeah, and it took me a while to even discover that because you want to do right by people, you want to be that good person, you want to be this, but there's no such thing as good or bad. There's always perspective. That's right, and what needs to happen at what time, right? There's no such thing as people pleasing anymore back in at our age, and it's very different. Once you know the value of you.
That's right. So that's super important. If there's one message from today, it's know your value, know your worth.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And don't settle for less.
And don't settle. That's right.
That's true. It took me a while to find the man that I want. But I also, once you find that man or that partner, for example, you kind of accept what you signed yourself up for. And here's where the foundation starts. Your friendship, your mutual respect. Something like that, along the lines where, life should only be easier rather than harder.
That's right.
100%.
You nailed it.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if you're a broker or a life love coach.
I'll be your matchmaker. No, that's very true because coming from a young age, we needed to discover our own path for us to give you the advice that we're confident in providing, whether it's finance, whether it's family situations, whether it's anything to do with perspective.
Yeah, exactly. I've really enjoyed today's chat.
I loved it. We went from money to profession,
exactly, budgeting,
Lambos, men with six packs, dating to just personal energy, and also trusting your gut, right?
Yeah.
Trusting your gut, we are not always here for you, but we encourage you to do better for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Just like we said, be confident, know your worth, reach out to people if you need help with something, talk to people that have already achieved what it is that you're wanting to achieve.
That's right. And if it feels good, it's the right direction. If it doesn't and you're always doubting yourself, it's not the right way, of course.
Pause and reflect, and maybe it's not the right decision.
And they always say trust your process. Trust the process.
That's right.
Right.
And don't be in a rush, and don't compare. Comparing yourself to others is one of the worst things that you could possibly do. You know, there's no reason to compare. Just think of yourself and what it is that you're wanting to do, wanting to achieve. Because there's always going to be someone that's 3, 4, 5 steps ahead, right?
100%. And not everyone comes with a trust fund or comes with a pile of cash or, you know, has, you know, celebrities as their mum and dads, right? We all got to start somewhere, but where we end up is up to you.
Exactly.
Right. I found that like a lot of people compare, but you can't compare. The universe did not give you the same cards.
No,
like
have
Despina's beautiful and I'm just mediocre.
No, stop it. Stop it. Gorgeous.
Look, there's no comparison, but we each have our own ways that God has blessed us, or the universe has blessed us to shine.
Just trust in the timing as well.
That's true.
I'm a big advocate for that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, thank you for coming on She Connects, where we only want to promote people who, that share the value of trust, empowerment, and collaboration. We will be having you on board for our workshop that has been rescheduled about money and interpersonal relationships, where you'll have a bit of time to meet the community and the guests that come through to share a bit about your story and how, you know, what should be to what people tell you life should be, right? And also sticking up for yourself, putting yourself first, and also aligning your goals to where you want to be in a realistic manner.
I'm really looking forward to it, and thank you so much, Anita, for having me on the podcast today. I love talking to your boys, love talking to you and to the audience, and I look forward to the workshop coming up.
We're happy to have you on board. We're ready to rock and roll, and
Perfect.
Thank you for coming through.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Until then, see you later.
Bye.